Oh my god, the greatest case of second-hand embarrassment that I've ever witnessed.
So why are me and Rebellious here? Because the state was to put on a show. Rebellious is less than 1% of this whole indictment. This reminds me of this anime named Bleach.
Hey, wait a minute, what the heck is going on here?
How's it going, folks? Jack here with another video. This time around, not so much of a reaction. Oh, at least it was originally supposed to be. But this was so ridiculous that I had to pull myself back and kind of present this to you in a different way. Because the other day on stream, Chad and I had a fun little discussion about stuff like IQ, we talked about personal issues, we even dive into certain concepts of morality. We had even a talk about court systems. There was this old case about a, well, not so old, it happened this year, about a fake lawyer who got accused for, well, faking his degree, obviously, but who actually solved a bunch of cases. So he actually did a good job, but now he actually has to face the law. But then through Twitter, I was sent clips on the Young Thug trial. Now, I don't listen to a lot of modern rap, okay? It's not that I am that person that's gonna say that, oh, it all sucks. There's definitely some good stuff out there, but it's not me. Like, literally the only time when I come across listening to, like, modern rap is when I'm reminded that labels such as strange music exist. You have to say it like that. And so I was recommended these clips. Well, thankfully timestamp video from the Law and Crime Network channel from the Young Thug YSL RICO trial. And now again, I have no stake in it. I have no idea what Young Thug is being embroiled in. And I really do not care. But you don't need to care about any of that to find what the hell is happening here funny. Because this was beyond the Judge Judy level of hilarity. This was the type of thing that would make black people stand up starting screaming in cinema because it was that funny. Anyways, the hilarity of this close to now 8-hour long court case begins at around the 2.5 to 3 hours mark of the video, where Young Thug's lawyer comes up to make a presentation trying to explain the case and, well, speak in his favor. And the things that he starts cooking with are, whew,
yeah, boy,
amazing.
And the prosecution is targeting, that's Jeffrey taking a selfie in the mirror, and he has his hand up, and the indictment that the prosecution had the grand jury return says he's holding up a blood sign. And that furthers this conspiracy. There's nothing wrong with holding up a blood sign, but that's not a blood sign. A blood sign's like this, it looks like a B. That is a P. Jeffrey's fingers are down. And what you'll learn is that Jeffrey just released, with Sergio Kitchens, performed known as Gunna, a song that is wildly popular. It's around the globe. It's called Pushing P. And it's positivity. It means any circumstance you're in, if you think positively about something, you can make it through.
Come on, Alan. Think positive thoughts.
No, you are not dreaming. This man, this lawyer, stood up in front of everybody and swore even up to God, which, by the way, you actually don't need to swear on a Bible for either taking office or on a jury. You don't have to do that. It's simply just to uphold the Constitution and the law of the court. So yeah, but whatever, back to my point. He swore to everyone! Stood there saying that the P in the picture was, the pusher P, was for pushing positivity. I do not know who this man is, but he must believe himself to be a wizard, as if he just cast an oblivion spell onto everybody, just making them forget what words mean. And again, I don't have much stake in rap, but I know at least that the term pusher P tends to be like pushing player, but no, not for this man. He just took the stage, pushed out the door out of the side, became Diego and taught us what words mean. And even further on through the Instagram picture showcase that I guess the accusant had prepared for the court, there's a picture of Young Thug standing there with a slime necklace as well as a huge red B tattoo on his chest, which apparently was not standing for blood but something completely different.
Slime comes from Jeffrey's idol, Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne made slime popular. Jeffrey uses it. Jeffrey's really popular, so people talk about slang. He has a tattoo. We'll blow it up for you during the trial, but it's on his right chest area, and it's a B, and it's colored red. Jeffrey doesn't run away from the fact that he knows people who are in gangs from all sorts of gangs. He promotes himself through these people. He talks with these people. He talks with everybody. He doesn't believe he's above anybody. Doesn't mean the fact that he talks with, or I talk with, or you talk with, or the prosecutor talks with, a person who's in and represents the Bloods, or the Crips, or the fashion show, or the Atlanta Hawks. We don't criminalize association.
And I know that there's a case against false equivocation to be made here. It's not always the case that the thing that you go out of your way to search for to like prove your biases pan out to be true. But it is extremely stupid, at least to me, when you take into account what the case is truly about. So I guess I should give you a little bit of context here. This whole thing started already 10 months ago, where they tried to assemble a jury for the whole period of 10 months that they deemed good enough to go through this case. And it was about the YSL group that the Young Thug is part of, given the chain that we've seen so far, ran a violent gang on the streets of South Atlanta, allegedly. Now, there were a whole bunch of things that kind of halted this process. Again, it took them 10 months to assemble a jury, but once they finally started the prosecution, there were things about the jury actually coming out late. The PowerPoint was somehow faulty, and the lawyer that we've seen right now decided to ask for a mistrial because of some of the slides being unknown to them. Like, there was a whole bunch of shenanigans going on, but nothing beats what actually happened further on into the trial. And two especially stand out, but first let's continue with the lawyer here, who went ahead to explain what the Young Thug's philosophy truly is about.
Because most people think about a thug as a criminal. But to Jeffrey, thug had a different meaning. Now, some of you read books about Tupac and what it meant to be thug life. Thug life, the hate you give little infants, Fs, everyone. Meaning discrimination and racism hurts all of us. That was not what thug meant to Jeffrey. Thug meant and means to Jeffrey something very personal. It was his path. If he could ever make it as a musical artist and help his family, himself, and as many others out of this endless cycle of hopelessness, he would be truly humble under God. That's what thug means.
Listen, I could have let the whole clip play through here, because I don't know who this lawyer is, nor do I know which school of the dark art he stemmed from, but he must have taken some classes in acting or something, because the amount of time that he uses for stalling are equivalent to the pause that I just made there. It is so long and it's dragging on. And like, I know that it's a tactic that politicians tend to use. Like, I used to be a member of a youth politic group where we were taught how to respond to certain arguments and stuff by stalling, taking time to think. That allows you to make a greater response. But because this man really stood there and said that thug stands for truly humbled under God. And frankly, he's either an absolute genius or a madman. Mad, obviously, because I know that dictionaries aren't supposed to be like an authority on everything that is right, because they tend to get a lot of things wrong, but in the least, they can allow you to find the etymology of words. Like, even if we were to accept that thug actually abides to that definition, that still wouldn't fit with the artist's name. Young, truly humble under God? What? Quickly, I had to make a stop here and search for it because I simply couldn't help myself, and it turns out that the word actually has an Hindi as well as Greek origin from the word thak, and of course also the Dutch version Daken or Decken in German. Well, okay, well, it turns out that the German also has the same one. Who would have thunk that? But yeah, the words picked up stream around the 1980s, and from that point on, we all used thug in the intended criminal manner of a brutish, violent person. So yeah, that's one of the contexts at least. Or the genius part turns out that if you make a search for the truly humble on the guard, you will find a tweet from Jeffrey or Young Thug's sister from last year, where apparently this could have been like a setup for a future reference that it turns out to be, right? Like, I don't know, they decided to bring them to court. And that is absolutely hilarious to me. Now, all of this was just for his lawyer alone, because there were more for either defendant or accusant there to either accuse or defend him from the deeds that he presumably had done. And continuing on a bandwagon of amazing analogies was one who made a Dunkin' Donut reference, I think it was.
And the evidence is so super thin and super weak, it reminds me of nothing more than a Krispy Kreme donut. Thin air.
With only one of the lawyers that actually looked like a straight-up old wise black man that actually had some good points. But the best one that I saved for last was... oh my god. The greatest case of second-hand embarrassment that I've ever witnessed.
So why are Nia Rodalius here? Because the state was to put on a show. Rodalius is less than 1% of this whole indictment. This reminds me of this anime named Bleach.
Hey, wait a minute. What the heck is going on here?
Where it's 16 seasons. Every episode is about 18, 20 episodes. Sorry, every season is 18 to 20 episodes. And they have season 4 and 5. They have these bouts. They're villains of the whole thing in season 4 and season 5. The main characters are trying to get them out of Soul Society. You go to season 6, you don't hear about the bounce. You go to season 7, you don't hear about the bounce. Why don't you hear about these important characters? Because they're filler characters. It's a filler season. Me and Rodalius, we're fillers. We're not integral to the story. They just drag him out of prison to jail to make this bigger than it has to be. We're basically distractions. So, as a juror, what can you do to tell the state, we're not going to be distracted. We don't need to listen to filler. You come back at the end of this with a not guilty for Rodalius Ryan.
Listen, I don't know if the American justice system was prepared to the amount of wape shit that was going to be spewed there. And at the worst, about filler. Freaking filler. My girl here decided to stand up with her I'm loving it body and said, we're gonna talk about the bout arc. One of the worst arcs in Bleach ever. And I'm stating all of this because I know that a good portion of my audience are weebs. Well, at least anime fans, that is. After all, it wouldn't be fair to assume that you all have that degree of fandom in anime. This is, I don't know what Saito Kubo was thinking about at that time and decided to make a vampire arc that came out of nowhere that I don't think anybody liked. It was weird, and just like that, it went away. But yeah, she decided to bring that in to court. To which I don't know how the people in there were feeling about. I may need to watch like perhaps some news reports on how they decided to respond to it, but it was so odd. It was just so odd, and the reason she decided to use that was that she was defending another person who is involved in this, another presumed either gang member or whatever. But she's weaving in references that I don't think anybody, except if this clip was going viral on the internet, would have understood. But this is not an Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp case where the public opinion has something to say here. I mean, seriously, let's not act as if the Amber Heard v Johnny Depp defamation trial was not the right amount of vitriol that the internet was searching for.
You tell them we do not want to waste our time on fillers. We just want to get to substance. So I guess sit back, enjoy the show, get some popcorn, because this is not justice, this is a circus. Thank you.
This isn't justice, this is a circus.
Mira, otaku de mierda, pedazo de hijo de puta. Me cago en todos los muertos de tu árbol genealógico y si me apuras también en los vivos, puto amorfo de mierda.
I hope that the irony of that statement did not go lost on her. She really went into a cold case thinking to herself, the deck seems really stacked against Young Thug and the defendant here. No matter how we twist or turn it, there's no way to reason with this jury. Except if we were to treat them as Reddit moderators. Yes, and the right way to go about it is to reference anime. And what better but one of the most obscure, most hated filler arc. The type that will even make Naruto filler arc feel good. Yes, that will do just nicely. Now, I don't know if that was her actual thought process, but I would imagine that something similar was going on through her head, because there's no way that you would be sane enough to believe that that was the right thing to do. Like, there are way better ways of saying that your client is seen as being unimportant. You could have just stated it. Use another talk. Like, this entire case makes me just wanna quote the Billy Madison movie, like, what you just said.
It's one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
And the secondhand embarrassment. Like, it wasn't one of the cool moments where, like, in the Olympics, for example, where you see the I don't know what nationality she was in, the floor performance of that athlete that was busting out with one of those Espada soundtracks. That was super awesome. And there's been a lot more discipline from runners to whatever that have referred to animes, Kamehameha or whatever. It's cool. That is awesome. And it also, like, it's something athletic. It doesn't play with people's lives. This was just a very stupid moment that was shared with me, and I wanted to share it with the rest of you guys. And I think that this was really funny. But anyways, this was just my thought on it. Let me know what you think about this goofy moment in the comment section. And have a good day. See you in the next one. Bye.